The air in the room was thick with the scent of pricey cologne and self-importance as I stood there, surrounded by a swarm of people in sharp suits and sleek dresses, all moving with the kind of slow, deliberate grace that screamed they thought the world revolved around them. I didn't fit in, and I knew it the moment we stepped through the door. Olivia had begged me to come to her office party, pitching it as a laid-back evening to meet her coworkers. But I wasn't naive. It was never about fun with her. It was about showing off, about proving she was someone who mattered, someone with the perfect life, the perfect connections, the perfect fiancé. That was supposed to be me tonight, a shiny accessory to her image. I'd been clutching a glass of soda I hadn't even sipped, nodding along to dull chatter about investment portfolios and vacation homes, when I caught Olivia laughing a little too loudly across the room. It wasn't her polite laugh, not even the tipsy one she sometimes lets slip after a few drinks. It was real, warm, the kind that made her eyes crinkle, and it was aimed at some guy she was standing way too close to. He was tall, polished, with a jawline that could have been chiseled for a magazine ad. His suit probably worth more than my entire freelance income for a month. I wasn't blind. I'd noticed the subtle changes in her lately, how she'd started hiding her phone screen, how she was suddenly working late, all the time, how she'd toss out random jokes I didn't get. I'd buried those doubts, told myself I was paranoid, that the woman I'd planned to marry wouldn't betray me. But then it happened. Someone nearby, maybe trying to be nice, asked about our wedding plans. Olivia, holding a glass of wine, didn't even glance my way. "Oh, we'll see," she said, her tone light but cutting. "I mean, I adore him, but he's a freelancer. Hardly the most reliable gig, right?" The room went quiet. A few people chuckled nervously, sipping their drinks to dodge the awkwardness. But her clique, those coworkers who always treated me like some charity case she'd dragged in, they burst out laughing. She didn't look at me. My chest tightened, heat creeping up my neck as her words sank in. She just turned me into a punchline in front of people she cared about, in front of him, and she didn't even flinch. I set my glass down, slow and careful, because if I didn't, I might have smashed it against the wall. "Well," I said, my voice steady but sharp enough to slice through the chatter. "Good thing I won't be your husband then." Olivia finally turned, blinking like she'd just remembered I was there. "What?" I reached into my pocket, pulled out the engagement ring I'd scraped together months to buy, and placed it on the table between us. It barely made a sound, but it hit the room like a thunderclap. Her friends froze. The guy she'd been cozying up to shifted uncomfortably. Olivia's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Shock flickered in her eyes, or maybe just irritation that I dared to interrupt her night. "You don't get to mock me and keep this," I said, calm but ice cold. "I'm done." I turned and walked out, her silence trailing behind me. The night air hit me like a slap as I stepped outside, my breath puffing out in shaky bursts. The city buzzed around me. Cars honking, distant laughter spilling from bars, but it all felt far away, like I was stuck in some nightmare I couldn't shake. I stood there, replaying it all, trying to feel some triumph in what I'd done. I'd ended it, right there in front of everyone, bold and final. But instead, my chest felt hollow, heavy with 5 years of memories. Late-night talks, dumb inside jokes, dreams of a future, crushed by one cruel jab and the way she'd laughed after. I pulled out my phone, my thumb hovering over her name. What was I even hoping for? An apology? A text begging me to come back? I shoved it back in my pocket before I could do something stupid. Then the venue doors flew open, and there she was, Olivia, storming toward me, heels clicking furiously on the pavement. "Are you serious?" she snapped. "You're really doing this here?" I faced her, but before I could speak, she threw her hands up. "God, do you always have to be so dramatic?" I let out a dry laugh. "That's funny, coming from the woman who just trashed me in front of a room full of people." "It was a joke," she shot back, stepping closer, her breath sharp in the cold air. "You're so sensitive. I didn't mean it like that." I shook my head, disbelief twisting inside me. "You didn't mean to make me a laughingstock? You didn't mean to laugh with them?" She sighed, exasperated. "I was just playing along. It was nothing." I stared at her, really seeing her for once, and it hit me. This wasn't a mistake. This was her. "I'm done, Olivia," I said, quiet but firm. "I'm not marrying someone who thinks I'm beneath them." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled them, like I was overreacting. "You'll calm down by morning." "No," I said, stepping back. "I won't." Her expression flickered, but she just crossed her arms. "Fine, go. But don't come crawling back when you realize what you're throwing away." I didn't reply. I turned and walked off, the weight of that ring gone from my pocket, but her words still stinging like a fresh cut. I kept walking, the party noise fading behind me, my thoughts racing. I should have felt free, powerful even, but something gnawed at me. She hadn't fought for me. She hadn't even seemed surprised. A woman who'd spent years planning our wedding, who'd gush over every detail, just let me go like I was nothing. That's when it clicked, so hard I stopped dead in my tracks. She'd already moved on. The humiliation wasn't a slip. It was a sign. She'd been pulling away for months. The late nights, the wedding disinterest, the distance. I'd been too trusting to see it. I yanked out my phone, hands moving before I could second-guess myself. Olivia and I shared a phone plan, and though I'd never snooped before, something told me I wasn't crazy. I pulled up the bill. Every call, every text, every number she'd been contacting. And there it was. One number over and over, late-night calls, long ones, when she'd claimed she was too tired to talk to me. Saved as Chris M. It didn't ring a bell until I remembered the guy from the party. I dialed it, heart pounding. It rang 3 times. Then his voice answered, "Hello," the same smooth tone I'd heard earlier, laughing with her. I hung up without a word, rage boiling up, sharper than the betrayal. She hadn't just humiliated me. She'd been playing me for months. I could have stormed back in, exposed her right then, but that'd give her a chance to spin it. Instead, I kept walking, the cold burning my lungs, until a plan took shape. Back at our apartment, the lights were off. Olivia still out, probably with him. It didn't feel like home anymore. The photos, her scented candles, our bed, all tainted. I went to her desk. Her laptop was locked, but her tablet, the one she used for mindless scrolling, wasn't. I opened her messages, and there it was, hundreds of texts with Chris M. Pet names, late-night confessions, complaints about me being boring, how she felt stuck, how she wished she'd met Chris first. 6 months. 6 months of this while we planned our wedding, while I saved for our future. I gripped the desk, steadying myself. Don't lose it. Don't give her that. I took a breath and decided I wasn't just leaving. I was ending this my way. I started typing. Sitting in the dim light of Olivia's tablet screen, my pulse was steady, my mind razor-sharp. The hurt had morphed into something else, purpose. She'd spent 6 months lying, sneaking around, making me look like an idiot while keeping me just content enough to stay blind. But now I had the truth, and I wasn't letting it go to waste. I copied every message between her and Chris, every flirty word, every betrayal, and sent them to myself. Then I dug deeper, flipping through her photos. There they were, snaps and clips of them together, her smiling at him the way she used to smile at me. Twisted something inside me, but I didn't flinch. I needed the anger to fuel me, to keep me from hesitating. I sent those to myself too, then leaned back, evidence locked in my phone. Now for the real move. Olivia thought she was untouchable, that she could play this game and win. She didn't know me at all. I wasn't going to yell or beg. That's what she'd expect. Something she could twist to make me the bad guy. Not this time. I started packing, erasing every trace of myself from that apartment. My clothes, my books, my old guitar, even the coffee maker I'd bought because she hated waiting for the old one. But before I walked out, I added a final touch. I grabbed her tablet, opened her messages, and forwarded the whole cheating thread to her parents. Olivia was tight with them. Daily calls with her mom, her dad always sizing me up like I had to prove myself. Well, now they'd see who she really was. Then, for the knockout, I sent it to her work group chat, the same crowd she'd mocked me in front of. Let's see how they liked her now. I dropped the tablet on her desk, took one last look at the place I'd wasted 5 years on, and left. I didn't slam the door. The real damage was already done. I drove around for an hour, city lights streaking by as the night replayed in my head. Her smirk, the messages, him. 5 years of building something, sacrificing, planning, and she'd been setting up a new life with someone else. Now she'd feel it all collapse. I checked my phone at a light. 19 missed calls from Olivia, texts ranging from furious to frantic. The best one, "What did you do?" I smiled. She knew. I pulled into my best friend Noah's driveway. He's like family. We'd been through everything together, and unlike Olivia, he never made me feel small. Before I could knock, he flung the door open, took one look at me, and whistled. I saw the group chat, man. Unreal. I stepped inside, exhaling. Yeah. He shut the door, shaking his head. You burned her world down. He handed me a soda and sat across from me. So, what's next? I gripped the can, feeling the cold against my palm. Now I watch it all fall apart. Noah grinned. You sent it to her parents too? I nodded. And her boss was in that chat. He choked on his drink. No way. I shrugged. Not my fault he saw it. Noah laughed. You're a legend. My phone buzzed. Olivia again. I let it ring, then another call and another. She was unraveling. Noah watched the screen. You answering? I stared at her name, the woman I'd almost married, who'd tossed me aside like trash. I hit accept and said nothing. Her breathing came through. Then, what did you do? Her voice was high, trembling with panic. You sent our messages to my parents? My job? Are you insane? I smiled. I thought it was just a joke, Liv. Isn't that what you said? Are you kidding me? She shrieked. You've ruined everything. I leaned back. No, I just made sure everyone knows who you are. She went quiet, scrambling for a way out. Then her tone softened. Babe, please, we need to talk. I can explain. I laughed, short and cold. No, Olivia. You don't get to explain. You don't get to turn this around. It's over. She hissed, low and venomous. You'll regret this. I won't, I said, and hung up. Noah let out a slow breath. That was brutal. I smirked. It's not done yet. She was cornered now, and people like her don't quit, they fight dirty. I was ready. Noah leaned in, eyes gleaming. Next step. I sipped my soda. I take back what's mine. He raised a brow. You got your stuff already. I tapped my head. Not my things, my pride. I opened Instagram. Olivia lived for her perfect online image. Us on trips, dinners, captions gushing about me. Time to rewrite it. I found her last post of us, 3 weeks ago, at some rooftop bar. Rings glinting, captioned my forever love. I edited it. Turns out forever ends when your fiancé cheats with her coworker. My mistake, folks. I hit post. Noah nearly dropped his drink. That's savage. Notifications flooded in likes, comments, shares from friends, her coworkers, even old classmates. Then Olivia called again. Noah grinned. Answer it, speaker. I did. Take that down now, she screamed. I leaned back. Hey, Liv, miss me already? If you don't delete it, you'll what? I cut in. Cheat harder. Noah lost it, laughing so hard he nearly fell over. Olivia sputtered. Do you know what you've done to me? Do you know what you did to me? I shot back. Silence. Then, predictably, she switched gears. Baby, I messed up. Okay? It was stupid, it didn't mean anything. I love you. Noah and I traded looks, the cheater playbook. I sighed. Dramatic. I believe you, Liv. She sniffled. You do. Yeah, I believe it didn't mean anything to you. But it meant something to me. I hung up. Noah howled. You're a pro at this. I smirked. Now we watch her crash. It didn't take long. My post spread like wildfire. Friends were shocked, some messaging me. Her old roommate even said, not surprised. She did this to her last guy too. So this was her pattern. Then her coworkers chimed in. We suspected for months. Boss saw it. HR's on it. She was so smug at the party. That one hit deep. She'd been so sure she'd get away with it. I refreshed Instagram, her account was gone. Deleted. Noah laughed. She's in full meltdown. Then my phone buzzed. A new number. I answered. Yeah. A rough voice. We need to talk. It's Chris. Noah's eyes widened. I put it on speaker. Look, man, I get you're mad, but you didn't have to drag me into this, Chris said. Noah snorted. You dragged yourself in when you hooked up with her. Chris ignored him. You made a mistake. You don't know who I am. I tilted my head. Who are you, then? Some office guy who cheats on his wife. Noah choked. He's married. Silence stretched. Then Chris hung up. We burst out laughing. I scrolled Olivia's messages, found his wife's number, Jessica, and sent her the proof. Noah's jaw dropped. You didn't. Oh, I did? I said, hitting send. 2 minutes later, Jessica texted. Who is this? Is this real? I replied, no joke. Check the dates. 6 months. Sorry you're finding out like this. I get it. She called. You sure? She asked, voice cold. Check his calls. I said. Her number's there. She paused. He thinks he's slick. A chill ran through me. What's your plan? She laughed. Sharp. Chris is about to have a rough night. She hung up. Noah stared. You just started a war. I nodded. Good. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment and hit the like button. Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear your perspective.